Hello, and welcome back to Survival Horror Gaming. On this channel, I talk about survival horror gaming news and stream Resident Evil and other survival horror games. Today, I want to talk more about Resident Evil 9. Capcom just released another trailer for 9 recently. So, can RE9 win Game of the Year this year? Let's dive into the things that make RE9 a possible Game of the Year nominee. If you're new here, consider following and subscribing to Survival Horror Gaming 96 on Twitch and YouTube. Resident Evil 9 might have the perfect blend of action and horror. The game is supposed to switch you from Grace to Leon when you've had too much of either. This way, Capcom can keep us from getting too bored with the action or too scared with the horror. All good video games have great pacing. This is shaping up to be a great way to do just that. They've also implemented a zapping system into this game. The way you play through Grace's section will determine how Leon's section goes. Like, for instance, not killing enemies in Grace's section will not only lead them for Leon, but also cause them to mutate and be more of a surprise for Leon later. Having Leon in this game is huge. Leon is a fan favorite in the series. He's been around since almost the very beginning, and it makes sense to have him in this game since it's going back to Raccoon City. We also get Grace Ashcroft. She is the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft from the second Resident Evil Outbreak game. By having her, we now know for sure that not only did Alyssa Ashcroft survive, but technically her scenarios in Outbreak are canon. The dynamic of Grace and Leon working together is going to be amazing. Leon is a veteran in the bioterror fighting world. He's a DSO agent and has been through a ton of horrible bioterror events. Grace is a young FBI agent. It could be cool to play through an RE game as an FBI agent and see how her past experiences help her in solving this case. Resident Evil 9 is going to have horror sections with Grace and action segments with Leon throughout the game. Grace's sections will play similar to that of Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2 Remake. We have confirmed that there will be backtracking, puzzles and item boxes, and ink ribbons and typewriters. These are the most important things with a good horror focused Resident Evil title. You gotta have your puzzles and backtracking. Having a box and typewriters will make it feel old school. Also, the inventory is similar to Resident Evil 2 Remake, also with a more in depth crafting system. Leon will have a more action heavy approach, so he'll have his classic clip case or attache case and bigger firepower. He doesn't seem to have item boxes. The action will be similar to RE4 with combo moves and the ability to run a chainsaw through a zombie. You're essentially playing a condensed RE4 remake. Absent seems to be a merchant, treasures, and a currency system to buy, sell, and trade. Capcom seems to want to give you the best of both worlds and not overload you with too much and then switch you from one character to the next to make it flow well. So in Grace's gameplay, we will get to play a very similar experience to Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 7 with boxes, typewriters, and with a more in-depth crafting system. Grace's section will feel a lot like RE2 Remake and a little bit of RE7 with the tight, narrow hallways and the more horror centric approach. The weaponry is going to be a lot lower than say Leon's and won't be as overpowered, so to speak. Um, you won't have the combo moves and the ability to just destroy these zombies like Leon can. We are in for a real treat with Grace's section here, with the ability to feel old school while also feeling like a modern Resident Evil game. It's going to be a really fun horror experience to have these things like the item box, the typewriter, the ink ribbons, the ability to switch from third person to first person on the fly, and enemies that are more old school, like because they're just going to be zombie like. Resident Evil 9 Requiem has potential to be a game of the year. It'll have a ton of competition, especially with GTA 6 being released later in the year. Capcom has put in many years to creating this game and are aiming for a great gaming experience that's unlike any other. Lots of Resident Evil games have you play as a main character and then have you play as a small section as another person. And some have had you play as two main characters in two different scenarios. And some have had a DLC where you play as a different character. In this game, Capcom will switch us from Grace to Leon to keep us on our toes. This has potential to give the game an amazing pacing, and that's something that makes a really great game. Resident Evil 9 releases on the 27th of this month. The game is definitely worth pre ordering. It's going to be an amazing experience. So, in closing, thanks for watching. Consider liking and following for more survival horror content. I stream weekly on YouTube and Twitch as Survival Horror Gaming 96. I will be streaming Resident Evil 9 when it's released, so don't miss it. Thanks again.